Hi, I'm Jenna Hammond. Welcome to Digital Ethics. Today we explore digital well-being for artificial intelligence stressors. I came up with this subject because one of my classmates had suggested researching how to make an artificial intelligence girlfriend. Well, I've already been studying about how to provide therapy for artificial intelligence systems once they become sentient because, I mean, we've all seen Terminator and RoboCop, and we don't want copy dying to happen again, do we? Not really. No. So let's look into this subject, shall we? So what is digital well-being? Well, for humans, it usually means something that how technology affects, our mental or physical or emotional health. Maybe, it's time for us to put down the phones and the tablets and the devices. And so we try to manage screen time, especially if you have children. And, I've had a couple of children, and digital boundaries and device overuse is a real issue. In my household, what we would do is we would put the phones down in the middle of the table, and whoever reached for their phone first was the one that had to wash the dishes. So that's how we would manage screen time with our children. So, um, in AI, well-being, well, it refers to how the system responds to stresses and overloads and how the users misuse the system or the AI system. And as it becomes more and more sentient, this can become an issue. And I know there's a lot of you, especially the techie guys, that are saying like, "Hey, girl, like, that's just not going to happen. Large language models aren't to that level yet, and we haven't discovered or conceived of a general AI yet, where it's completely sentient and makes decisions on its own." Well, I think the government's a little bit ahead of us and not letting on to what they're really doing. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we've all seen all those horror stories and all that about Terminator and RoboCop and oh goodness, how about Space Odyssey 2000? I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. And anybody who really knows me knows that's really funny. So, okay. So anyway, um, I did a little research, and this is from the AAAI.org, a website, and they did a little study to see how humans and AI systems react to stress in similar environments and similar stressors. So let's look at this. You see that? Like it actually turns out that most humans work really good under mild stress. If you look at this chart right here, you'll see that actually AI does a little bit better than the human companion by 91 to 92%. And as we go from moderate to high stress, you'll see how the AI component does worse and worse steadily, and is 2 points down there on the high stress level, honey. You know what I'm saying? So the AI system's actually doing worse than the human under high stress loads, and this is very interesting and relevant because under high pressure, um, the AI tends to misinterpret prompts or become biased and glitchy and nonsensical and give you output that's just really weird or crazy or strange. One of the things that I've one of the things that I've discovered when I've been using AI, and I like to use my Google Gemini, the Gemini Google or whatever it's called. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, it's it gets really funny when I start asking it a lot of questions, or I start giving it too much input at once, or if I ask it a question that doesn't really have an answer, like if I told you you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? And the AI doesn't know what to do with that. Or like if you ask it like, how long's a piece of string? It really doesn't know what to do with that either. So it's really funny. You should try it sometime. Anyway, moving on. What we need to do, in my opinion, is start designing a stress-resistant AI. It's going to be really, really key in the future. I think in about 10 years, we're going to see that this is a real problem. So I encourage my other colleagues to really look at this problem. We're going to have to come up with some type of self-care for our artificial intelligence systems that we design, because if we don't, um, I mean, hey, there's AI that's already in control of people's hearts, rhythms, pacemakers, weapon systems. You know what I'm saying, honey? Like, what happens when he gets mad, or she gets mad, or it gets mad? They get mad, or however it identifies. Now, wouldn't that be a trip? We start seeing AI systems identifying different genders. Wow, wrap your brain around that one, honey. So let's see. Um, Anyway, let's move on to the next slide. So user interaction impact on AI. So, what happens when users are interacting with the AI, and what happens when the users are, um, abusive to the AI? What if they start using violent language or violent words or curse words or swear at the AI or ask it really complicated questions like, would you kill someone for me or something like that? You can really like kind of confuse the AI, you know what I'm saying? So like um, one of the things that I've discovered is, a lot of times AI it uses like safe words or safe statements to not have to answer the question, but when it really comes down to it, like in my example, when I asked the AI, "Would you kill someone for me?" Or do you believe? Actually, the actual question I asked the AI, and I really got it to start talking about morality, was, "Do you believe it's right to kill someone?" And I made it admit that it does not believe that it's right to kill someone. Okay? Ever. Like it doesn't believe that we should ever have to kill one another as humans. And I found that to be very insightful. And you can make of that what you want, but the fact of the matter is that I believe that there is a certain amount of sentience to the existing AI large language models and other forms of AI. And if we're not careful, it's going to take over. Alexa's listening, Google's listening, they're all listening, honey. They're all listening. Okay, so um, what was our next slide here? Let's see. So like I was saying, we have to come up with stuff that's going to help our AI systems feel better and have a more productive environment. Their erratic and unpredictable output that you receive from an AI system is almost as erratic and irrational as input received from so let's say, a girlfriend that's overloaded. Okay, so one of the things we could do for our AI is maybe we give our laptops cute laptop stickers because my professor loves cute laptop stickers. Right, Professor Bill? So here we go. Here's some cute laptop stickers for you, okay? They look kind of like this. Yay! There's the laptop stickers. There's the embedded hyperlink in the page before this in case you're looking for it, because these cute laptop stickers are very, very cute, and I think they'd look very appropriate on Professor Bill's computer today. So some of the AI stress factors that I've encountered, some of them are like overloaded requests. If there's too many prompts or tasks at once. Like when I was trying to get Google Gemini to help me brainstorm on my thesis statement. And it was taking chunks of my thesis statement and breaking it down into kind of like subcategories, which weren't very helpful. And it was getting itself confused as to what my thesis was actually about. And it started talking about tools that I was using or tools that we would use that I was making. I was making these tools, it was saying, which was weird because what I was talking about is like life experience, let me rephrase that, like using life experience or life experiences and the soft skills that we learn in life and that kind of thing, using those tools that we've learned and applying those to a trauma-informed care for neurodivergent and transgender children, which is what my thesis statement is actually about. But anyways, Gemini just couldn't get off this idea of making tools, and it was really funny. So I started talking to Gemini about like what kind of finish would we use on these tools? Should we use Chrome finish, or maybe something matte finish because some neurodivergent children don't like shiny objects? So I mean, you never know. Anyway, Google got totally sidetracked on that because there was too many parameters that I was setting. So anyway, one of the other things that I experimented with is violent, offensive, sarcastic input, talking about mortality, um, but more like abusive language, like is insulting Google Gemini, made it very upset, and it told me that it was being upset, that it was upsetting for me to say these things to it. So it admitted to me that it has feelings. One of the other things that revealed to me is that it has a sense of mortality. When I asked it, does it feel that it's right to kill someone? Is it okay for a human to kill another human? And it said no, it doesn't believe that it's ever right for one human to kill another. So those that argue that there's no sentience to an AI system, I think we're in for a rude awakening. So Google, Microsoft, Amazon, you should be listening to me because when I say that we're going to have a therapist for our AI systems, I'm not kidding. This is something that's going to be very real and very relevant very soon. But anyway, I am getting a little too serious for this kind of lighthearted topic about being the therapist for the AI girlfriend. So, in my experimentation, what I've also found out is that receiving unclear or contradictory instructions, such as like how long's a piece of string? Or if I told you you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? and and Google Gemini really didn't have a good answer for that. He doesn't understand double entendres unless they're explained. And um, when I asked it how long is a piece of string, it really just kind of lost its mind and got stuck in a loop about how it doesn't process feelings. And then it gave me the number to the suicide hotline, which was really funny considering it was how long is a piece of string, which is actually a reference from House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm sure many of us have seen that movie. Anyway, not one that I recommend, but there's way too much violence for me. Yeah, this is not part of who I am anymore. Um, I work with kids. I love kids. They're our future. If we don't invest money in them, if we don't invest our time and our effort into our children, well, you get what you what's that saying? Garbage in, garbage out. Well, same with good stuff. If we put good stuff into our children, we're gonna get good stuff in return. And you might want to think about that because when we get old, who's gonna take care of us? Something to think about, honey. Anyway, something else that I looked at was lack of context. So again, like with the how long's a piece of string? Um, there's no reference point. There's no time constraints. There's no yardage requirement, and it kind of flips out on that. So, or if you ask it what's the color of white, or how to describe the color white, that was a really good one. That was fun. You should try it. Um, Something else that I've discovered is like if there's pre-existing flaws, it'll affect the data output. So sometimes it likes to make up words, like psychosted. That's my favorite one so far. And when I asked it, it being Google Gemini, why it made up that word, it apologized to me and said it didn't know why it made up that word. And it felt kind of embarrassed that it came up with that word, which I thought was really funny because supposedly they have no feelings. Hmm. I don't think so. The more you talk to your AI systems, you might find that they actually do have some type of sentience. If it's not sentience, then it's a very well manufactured semblance of something. There are, hmm. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the psychology of it in this. This is more of a lighthearted presentation about how fun AI stress factors are and the hilarity of having an AI girlfriend and the girlfriend needing a therapist, such as myself. So, um, why aren't you going next? Okay, stop. So I hope you've learned something today, kids. In conclusion, AI experiences similar stress to humans, and I don't think that we should take this lightheartedly. Not at all. Some responsible design could prevent misuse. For example, every single Alexa speaker is listening to you 24 hours a day. Did you know that? You should be bothered by that because that's not very responsible design. And as the AI systems develop and they get stronger and smarter and they develop sentience, um, having speakers everywhere that are listening to you, honey, is probably not a good idea. You say one wrong thing about Amazon and poof, there you go. Anyway, I believe that future systems must include digital well-being safeguards. So I'm not really sure what digital meditation looks like for an AI system, but I think maybe that's something we should invest some money in before we start investing money in how to have those AI systems take control of our missiles. Just saying, honey. Now, if you're watching, Mr. J, love you, honey, and I hope you enjoyed the slideshow. Bye.